All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. TDS Queen here. I wasn't gonna not do a video today, even though it's Thanksgiving. And not too much happened today, fortunately, because I could definitely use a break. I know we all could use a break on Thanksgiving from, the terrible news and all the lying and everything. And I did end up making my pies. They ended up turning out awesome. I think there's 2 pieces left of the brownie one. That was a gigantic hit. So shout out to my aunt for that recipe, and I will not tell your secret of how to make it a good pie, because she told me not to. So, I didn't talk about this yesterday, but I think everybody knows by now the shooting of the National Guards. And there is no way to politicize this. It's a tragedy. It never should have happened. I mean, everybody's seen the pictures of the National Guards out in D.C., not having anything to do, picking up trash. It shouldn't have been there. I know that I think it was the mayor of D.C. said something and then got called out and, told to shut the F up about saying something like that. But the truth is, these people should have been home with their families. They shouldn't have been out there. And Trump comes out and gives a press conference and brags about how he's going to send 500 more. To do what? He's talking about how crime, he actually said crime is none. Really? None crime? None crime in D.C.? Just like I said in my video last night, there has still been murders, which if there's been 15 murders, 8 murders, 15 murders, 5 murders, 8 murders as you go down the months, there's got to be crime also, because there's not just none crime and then also murders. So there's still crime. I understand that he's trying to make the city safer and all, but that's not the way. That's what police are for. Don't bring in the military to make cities safe. That's not what they're for. And the fact that they vetted this guy, he came in under Biden, okay? Nobody's denying that he came under Biden. Came in the country under Biden. They had a strict vetting process for that. I know the lies out there now are, well, they just let anybody in and everybody was bum rushing the plane and got in. You know who did the final vetting? You know who granted him asylum in the country? The final vetting? Trump. Happened under Trump's administration. Look it up. He might have came in under Biden and was vetted then, but he was officially, finally vetted and given asylum by the Trump administration. And when he was asked that question by a reporter, did you see how he reacted? He slammed his fist on the desk, and that was it. He was done. First, when she tried to figure out, why are you blaming Biden, when she said these people were vetted and given asylum under you, so I'm trying to understand, why are you blaming Biden? And he said, you're a stupid person. You're asking questions like a stupid person. Okay, she's a reporter. She's supposed to ask questions. But you want to know who sounds like that? Who I've heard sound like that? My 2 narcissistic family members. One of which is elderly. And it just reminded me of that so much, because that's what they do when they're backed into a corner. They start with the personal insults. They don't like that question. They don't like what you're talking about. Well, you're a stupid person. That's a nasty question. He didn't answer the question. Did you see that? He didn't answer the question. He just called her a stupid person. Did not answer the question. Slammed his hand down, threw a little diaper baby fit. Did not answer the question. So I had to come out and say the truth, obviously, because every time I hear him lie, I'm going to come out with the truth. Okay? Yes, he came in under Biden, but he was officially vetted and given asylum under Trump. So how long are we going to blame Biden for things? Biden is not the president again. I will repeat that. Biden is not in charge. Biden didn't run on releasing the Epstein files. Trump did. Okay? And that brings me to the next judgment/scandal that every single day should be a regime-ending scandal. Kristi Noem. So now we come to find out that she is the one back in the day that ordered the plane to continue to take off. The ones that Judge Boebert ordered, well, Judge Boebert is trying to get her under criminal contempt proceedings because of this. Because she's the one that they are officially, I don't know if she did it, but they're the ones that she's getting thrown under the bus for not letting those planes with the detainees that ICE put there to not take off, not go to that crazy, terrible prison in El Salvador where there has been torture and sexual abuse, and come to find out over 50% of the people that were sent there on those planes had zero criminal background, okay? And just like the National Guard and everything, they were supposed to be focusing on the worst of the worst, okay? Instead, you have people going to Home Depot to arrest the workers out there, going to California farms to arrest the workers, going to restaurants to arrest these illegal immigrants. You have the DOJ and the FBI focused on this, focused on sending in the National Guard, when they should be focused on the actual real terroristic threats, like the one that probably slipped under the radar because they're so focused, and shot 2 National Guard, one of which now has died, sadly, and instead of focusing on them, they're focused on arresting, grandma and, your next door neighbor who works in his own store. Like, what? That's not okay. And that's what they're focused on. And maybe, just maybe, Kristi Noem will get in trouble for this because she basically told a judge, F you, take off anyway. So the way that this administration / regime works is, let's see if they stop me. I'm just going to do it anyway. I operated that way as a kid because it was better in my mind to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. If I knew, who am I kidding? I still do that as an adult. When I was still living at my parents' house, I painted my daughter's room when they were on vacation because in my mind, it was better just to say, I'm sorry, it's just paint, but it was done. I got what I wanted. I might get yelled at. I might get told, this isn't your house, why did you do that? But, that was a while ago. I try not to be that way anymore. I need to adult better. But that's childish behavior, right? You just, beg for forgiveness. So how much can he get away with before the courts stop him? Because he knows he is a master of suing people and going through the courts, and he knows that if he just does it, then he can get sued. Then all that stuff will have to make its way through a slow-ass court process. Meanwhile, he'll still be getting to do all the things. So that's how he operates. That's how everybody in his administration operates. Let's see if they stop us. What can we get away with? And that's a huge problem. And the Supreme Court never should have given him immunity, and I think maybe they might be realizing that now, but who knows. All right. Now, the economic climate. So there's these 7 businesses, and basically they are huge Trump supporters and donators. They donated to the ballroom there. Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and of course Tesla. Okay, these are these billionaires right now that are propping up the economy with this AI bubble. Okay, everybody remembers when the housing market crashed. In fact, my brother just today said to me, hey, I think in the next 2 years the housing market is going to crash again, and maybe you'll be able to afford your own place. And I'm like, well, yay for me, but terrible for everybody else that is trying to sell a house or, get something out of their property or equity or anything. It's so bad, and I'm scared. I'm considering taking my 401k out for now because I just think everything is going to tank. And what, ride it out. It's a 401k, I don't really have that much in there. And, it's just a scary time. And plus, supposedly the company is switching to a different company, but I don't know if I believe in that. I don't know if I believe that. I think something fishy's going on there. When they're telling me you have until X amount of time to get out your money, and then there's a blackout period, and then when we come back, then you can get out your money after we switch companies. What if there's no money there? What if this company is going bankrupt? It's a retail company, and if they don't do well tomorrow, I don't know. It makes me concernicus. But anyways, these 7 companies are propping up artificially. It's an AI bubble. Okay, like I've been saying, their goal is to get as much AI out there in the world. They want to replace as many jobs as they can with AI because they don't have to pay their workers anything. They don't have to pay robots benefits. But if you look at the S&P without them, well, number one, Trump's hiding the GDP. The U.S. third quarter advanced estimate GDP report has been canceled. Why is that? Because they know the economy is bad, and they are trying to cook the books, and they're trying to cover it up, and they don't want you to know that. What is this, like, I didn't look, but can't be something that happens all the time, that the GDP report gets canceled. There's just no way. So without these 7 companies, the S&P 500, technically would be the S&P 493. It shows a weak economy, okay? And not good at all, especially with retail and, consumer, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but how they feel about the economy. And it's not good. And they're trying to cook the books and not let that out because they know then they can't come out and lie and say prices are down and the economy's awesome and everything's great, and they know they can't do that. So how many times has this report it's been canceled? And I'm sure that when it does come out or the economy is bad, they'll just try to blame Biden because that's their go-to. Well, this is Biden's economy. How far into this presidency are we going to say that it's Biden's economy? Because when he came in, he inherited a good economy. I can't think of what it was. I think it was called a Goldilocks economy, if I'm not wrong, where it's like just right. Like, it was on its way to get better. We understand we went through COVID and we went through a hard time. And yes, they lied about inflation to us then as well. But now it is tanking. Terrible. So how long are you going to blame Biden? How many years is it going to be into this administration? I don't think many, because I think there's going to be a lot of resignations coming soon, because there's a Punchbowl article that came out, which is, like I said yesterday or the day before, really in with the White House reporting. And there was a senior Republican lawmaker that said everybody in there is threatening to resign. In fact, the exact words were, moderate Republicans are apoplectic, which means blowing their minds, like apocalypse style, like, oh my God, at Maga Mike Johnson's lie that none of them support extending the Affordable Care Act, because it is a lie. And we're coming to find out that a lot of them, especially the moderate Republicans, do support extending the ACA. Maybe not because they give a shit about people, but because they're concerned about staying in their office and staying in power, because their constituents, when they are starting to pay 50, 75, 80% more in their premiums and can't afford it, and people start dying, they're going to vote them out. They're not going to blame the Democrats for not having a good enough plan, because Mike Johnson, ever since the shutdown, what has he been saying? This is when I wish that I was making money doing this or getting paid so I could have the fancy show the clip, but just take my word for it and you can look it up. He said he's got notebooks of ideas. All the Republicans have just pages and pages full of ideas, notebooks full of ideas. And also that the second the government shutdown is over, they have a comprehensive health plan that they're going to release. And they have it. But they're not telling anybody. And when Marjorie Taylor Greene goes to talk about it, he won't talk about it with her unless they're in like a situation room situation. They never had a plan. That's the point. It's all been a lie. They don't have a plan. They don't care. They don't care if your premiums go up. All the Congress has wonderful health care. It's not going to affect them at all. It's just the typical narcissist way of thinking. It's not affecting me. So it obviously isn't bothering anybody else because it's not bothering me. And it is bothering people. And I think that the lie of, well, Donald, if you come out with this, all the Republicans are going to resign because none of us support extending the ACA. That was a lie. There's a lot of people that support it. And I think he is going to lose his gavel and not be the Speaker of the House anymore. And that would be a great Christmas present. Really great. I also want you to think about Thanksgiving. Did he come out with a message today and I missed it? Some kind of tweet? Look at even Biden, who, a lot of people don't like. What was his Thanksgiving message? Why don't you look up Obama's videos for Thanksgiving? Whether you hate him or not, that was a president acting presidential on Thanksgiving, telling us to be nice to our family and friends, telling us to give thanks for our neighbor and our country, and be grateful we live in the most wonderful country in the world. Nothing from Trump. Nope. Ran away and hid. And then when he gives a press conference, he calls a reporter stupid. Are you stupid? Like I say almost in every video, this is not a president. This is not how a president should act. You can't sit here and say, oh, I love how he just tells it like it is. This isn't your bar buddy, okay? This is the person representing our country to the rest of the world, and they're watching him behave this way. And that reflects badly on us, because people aren't going to take the time to try to realize that maybe he doesn't represent us, and maybe not all Americans are crass and nasty and mean to women and mean to people of other races than white, and saying that they're low IQ all the time, and telling reporters quiet piggy, and that's a stupid question. What are you, stupid? Come on. What are you, stupid? That's just, ugh. But I digress. So wrong on Thanksgiving, just so freaking wrong. All right, and the last thing, because of course I have to do some Epstein news, okay? So now there's an expedited FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, which I said, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, that I thought they were going to try to do, and they did. So the orders in this FOIA, right? All materials prepared, this is what they're asking for. All materials prepared or compiled by DOJ officials for Bondi's review. That's one. All briefing materials prepped for the Bondi-Trump meeting in May of 25. That's two. All records of communication between the AG, the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, the senior assistants, records reflecting, this is a good one, all directives, guidelines, and instructions as provided by FBI leadership to the FBI members assigned to assist in the Epstein record review. So I said that about, it was like right when I started making videos, because that one woman that spoke on Midas Touch Network came out, and I watched that video, and it got me so incensed that I think that's actually what started. So that might be one of my first or my second or third videos, actually. And she did a FOIA request for the training video in the FBI they were using on how to flag Trump's name, what to do with it, where to put it in an Excel sheet and whatever. So she requested a FOIA for that video, that training video. So that would be included in the sentence I just read. Okay. Info regarding staff assigned to review Epstein-related records and all records reflecting all mentions of Trump within the Epstein files. So those are very specific, and they're very well targeted. Makes me think that there was some kind of insider information or whistleblower situation, because like I said, a lot of eyes have seen those. And if you don't think those people have talked to at least somebody, because they're not going to just be able to say, well, this looks, we're looking into the Democrats. We're just going to investigate the Democrats. Because if you listen to what I just read, none of those things are specific to anything they want to try to pull with, we're investigating the Democrats. And the info that's requested is not related to anything that has to do with any Democrats that are listed in there. It looks like they're looking at the attempt of the cover-up, is what it looks like, with how the little specific things that I mentioned that they want FOIA on. And that is definitely a more expedited way to get it. And the judge that did it is the same judge that that did the January 6th. So that's got to burn his booty cheeks that she's the one that did this. So I'm sure they'll still be, grasping at straws and doing everything they can to stop this from coming out. But I have said over and over again, as every single other Democrat that I know, we don't care if there's Democrat names in there. You can throw out Bill Clinton names and JP Morgan, and I don't care who's in there, okay? I know that Trump's name is all over those emails, and if he has been found guilty of sexual assault, liable for it in a civil case, the talk that he gave about grabbing women by the you-know-what, if he can get past those and people are fine and forgive him for that, He is deathly afraid of what is going to come out in these files. What is in them? He has gotten through so much other horrendous stuff, like, despicable, deviant, nasty, gross things. What is he so afraid of that's in these, And his side never shut up about it. Release the files. And he was going to be your guy to release the files. He ran on releasing the files. And now all of a sudden he doesn't want to release the files. What is in them? We are never going to stop talking about this. Okay? I'm never going to stop. Because I want to see what's in them. Because everybody needs to be brought to justice. Those victims need justice. I don't care if there's 10 Democrats in there and 0 Republicans. Don't care. I don't care if there's 10 Democrats in there and 1 Republican. It doesn't matter. All of them need to be held to account. The banks as well for the financial cover-up and the money laundering and whatever other crimey things are in there. They all need to face justice. It doesn't matter. And that's pretty much the news for today. I'm happy to be here on Thanksgiving. I'm happy to do a video. I have a lot of things in my life to be thankful for. I don't go into detail about my past or mistakes that I might have made, but somebody told me a few years ago that I would be sitting here doing this in a nice warm house with my child sleeping peacefully upstairs and my husband watching Batman animated series. We were just watching that. We had to take a trip down memory lane from when we were kids. I never would have believed it. Never would have believed it. So, had dinner with my family tonight. There wasn't dinner and a show like there usually is. Everybody got along, so that was nice as well. We had good food. I got to come home, and it was just a good time. So, I hope all of you out there had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. And as always, if you liked my video, please hit the like button and hit subscribe. And never stop screaming the truth from the highest rooftop. You all have a good night out there.